Hello and welcome, Pokemon fans. There are those who call me Bard Breaker, and it's time for another Sunday Pokemon Challenge run. Last week we had some good old classic fun back in Gen 1 with just Voltorb, but let's jump up a few generations and do an interesting one. Today we ask and answer the question, can I beat Pokemon SOULSILVER with just an Unown? Yes, you heard that right, an Unown. Not a full team. Unown is a relatively unremarkable psychic Pokemon with a stat total of 336, just 1 point higher than Cacnea and Tentacool. Attack and special attack are pretty decent, but relatively humdrum overall. It's certainly not the worst Pokemon we've ever used though, just looking at pure stats. Move-wise though is where Unown can fall flat on its face. It only knows the move Hidden Power, and that's it. Hidden Power is a move that changes type based on your Pokemon's IVs, so one Unown may have a Fire-type Hidden Power, while another may have a Steel-type, for instance. The base power also varies based off your IVs as well, so one may hit for as low as 30 or as high as 70 depending on what you get. So needless to say, we'll need the right type Hidden Power to be able to do this run solo. So, with that point, I'd like to remind you guys that all of this is written as I go, and at this point we haven't started playing yet. Everyone take your guesses down below, and please the almighty algorithm, God of the YouTube algorithm, and let me know if you think we can do this or not. I'm going to say with the right Hidden Power, it may be possible, but more on that here in a bit. Lastly, let's take a look at our rules. In combat, I can only use Unown. I will need other Pokemon for HMs, but I can't use them in battle. I also won't be using any items in battle. Held items as well as items outside of battle will be allowed, and I won't be using any cheats, glitches, or exploits, so let's begin. So I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Cyndaquil with Unown. This way our rival will take Totodile and have one of the stronger Pokemon for us to face off against as the run progresses. I nickname it Known, because as the comedian George Carlin once said, what exactly is an unknown person? Surely everyone is known to someone. Anyway, our Unown is Gentle Nature, so more special defense at the expense of defense. Our ability is Levitate, which means we'll be immune to ground moves like Earthquake, so that could be nice. And here's where we need to talk about Hidden Power. As I mentioned earlier, Hidden Power's type and base power are based off of your Pokemon's IVs, which are numbers you normally don't have access to. So at this point in the game, this is where you would normally just attack wild Pokemon to figure out the type by process of elimination. It's important that we get the right type or else this run will literally be impossible. Something like Fighting or Electric would literally be unable to get us through certain parts of the game. The type we actually want to wind up with is Dragon. While Dragon is only super effective against other dragons, it's also only resisted by Steel. This means that we'll be doing neutral damage against virtually everything in the entire game except for the 4 or 5 Steel-type Pokemon we have to face. And this is where we would normally have to spend time testing our Hidden Power and catching more Unowns until we get exactly what we needed. Fortunately, using a Hex Editor, we can actually see what our IVs are and also what our Hidden Power type actually is. As luck would have it, we actually rolled a set of IVs completely naturally that already give us a Dragon Hidden Power. I was just going to randomize our IVs here to reset our Unowns until we got a Dragon set, but ours is actually already Dragon, so that's a plus. And I honestly don't see a problem with resetting IVs to get the right Hidden Power type that we need. I could have just kept catching Unowns until we finally randomly got a Dragon type. This would have just saved us time, but we got one on our own naturally anyway, so we didn't even need to worry about it. At this point, we can also use an IV calculator to see exactly how much base power our Hidden Power attack has. And punching those numbers in, we see that we do indeed have a Dragon type Hidden Power, but at only a base power of 30. Well, that's not great at all. That basically means we'll only have access to a 30 base power move the entire game, since Dragon will not give us a same type attack bonus, and only against Dragon will we have super effective damage. This means we are likely going to have to be severely overleveled and EV train the shit out of Unown to keep it even remotely viable. While I could use the editor to re-roll and get stronger IVs, I honestly think this makes the challenge more interesting and authentic. I think if we have to deal with using only this wimpy baby Hidden Power, it's going to be a more authentic run. So there we are, folks. We naturally got the type we wanted, albeit the shittiest base power we could have, but that's what we're going to run with. We have to start the run out with the obligatory package delivery simulator as we walk in on 2 old men watching reruns of Hell's Kitchen, trying desperately to find their lamb sauce, and we get the mystery egg to deliver back to Professor Tree. On the way back to the lab, we're accosted by some dude, and unfortunately we get hit with a crit right out of the gate, and that brings us down. We could have won that if we didn't get hit with the crit, but at least we don't have to win the fight. We deliver the egg back to the Pokemon researcher, who has somehow never seen the result of 2 Pokemon fucking, and now we can begin our quest. So we have to EV train the shit out of our Unown and do it in a hurry. We need special attack EVs, and speed probably wouldn't hurt either. Grinding for special attack EVs is going to be rough right now since we can't really do a lot of damage. We need to level up a bit, so we spend some time grinding on speed EV Pokemon, and once we reach level 14, after finishing Sprout Tower, we're ready to give Faulkner a try. And yeah, we're just not quite there yet. Alright, let's go get some special attack EVs and boost up this Hidden Power. One of the best places to train for special attack EVs is right here in the ruins of Alph against more Unknown. So we wallop on fellow members of our Alphabet Brigade and finally take on Faulkner again at level 18. At this point we're able to two-shot the Pidgey before it can hit us with Sand Attack and screw up our accuracy. We're then able to land our blows on the Pidgeotto with much more accuracy and are able to secure the first win of the run. We're not done grinding our EVs yet though, but this is a good place to start. We spend a little more time grinding on Unknown until we get to level 20. Then we go back and catch a Pidgey for Fly later, nicknaming it Flapsity the 21st. Long may he fly, as well as a Bellsprout for Cut later, nicknaming it Snipticus the 21st. Long may he cut. And we also go back for a Geodude for Strength later, nickname it Bicepticus the 21st. Long may she lift. And finally a Mareep for Flash later, nicknaming her Flashelius the 21st. Long may she shine. We make it to Bugsy's gym at level 23, and oh boy, it's not even close. His Scyther doesn't have Fury Cutter in this generation, but it does have U-Turn, and we aren't doing nearly enough damage to it. We are going to need to level. I decided to try my hand at the rival fight so we can exit the town instead. It takes a few tries and we have to level up to level 25 to do it, but we get a run where Ghastly doesn't use Curse on us, and we do get a lucky crit on the Zubat, which allows us to go full health into the Croconaw. It knows Bite, so it could end us quick, but fortunately just seems intent to use Scary Face over and over to lower our speed. It finally uses Bite, but not before we've brought it into range to finish it off with another hit and finish the fight. If the Croconaw had just attacked those 3 opening turns with Bite, we would not have won that fight. We spent a bit of time grinding, but even at level 27, we're still not touching the Scyther. We need to power level for sure. We try again at level 30, having max EV trained our Unknown. For those of you who don't know what EVs are, basically they are little stat points that go into your bigger stats. Every Pokemon you knock out gives you 1 to 3 points towards one of your stats. They won't directly influence the stats, but they will nudge them in the growth direction you need to go. Unfortunately, I did not realize that the Unknowns we were grinding on for so long also gave physical attack EVs, so I'm going to need some EV correcting berries here to remove all those physical attack EVs, since Hidden Power literally doesn't use them. It's important to pay attention to what EVs you're getting, because you can only get so many EVs on a Pokemon. So for every EV point in our physical attack that we got from grinding on those Unknowns, that's a point out of one of those other categories like defense or speed that we could actually have used. At level 30, once again the Scyther is first and hits hard with U-Turn, but we're doing more damage this time around. Fortunately, by grace of some poor move choice, we're able to actually get past the Scyther this time. If it wouldn't bother with focus energy, it could beat us much more quickly than we could do damage to it. Finally, we get past Scyther and fortunately last out is his Kakuna, which is no threat to us, and we're finally able to move on and finish this bug gym for our second badge. We make our way into Goldenrod City and try our hand at Whitney, and this isn't happening either. Her Clefairy isn't a problem, but her Miltank and its Milk Drink make overpowering it a real problem. We haven't even seen it use Rollout yet. We're just gonna have to level up more. We try again at level 35 and we get a crit hit on our Clefairy and move past it instantly. Her Miltank is next, and between a Super Potion and Milk Drink, it's looking like it's another lost session as we only have so much damage to deal and health to spare. Fortunately, we get another lucky critical hit to bring down her Miltank once and for all. Once again, she never even tried to use her famous Rollout. We head north and arrive in Ecruteak City shortly after, and after failing a few attempts at Tower Tim and Burn Tower, we grind up to level 40 to try again. Side note, you have to admire this guy's detective skills here, right? Nothing ever gets past him with his keen powers of observation. Nothing at all. Nope, none whatsoever. Our rematch with Tim at level 40 goes much better. We're able to one-shot the Ghastly and Zubat with ease before Croconaw comes out. And like earlier in the run, it seems intent on just using Scary Face over and over instead of actually attacking with something like Bite, which surely would have done us in. We do wind up both confused and paralyzed from his Magnemite, which could have been quite bothersome, but we're able to break through both and pull out a victory against our rival yet again. After beating our rival, we try for Morty at the Ghost Gym, and yeah, okay, I forgot about Shadow Ball. That's just too much for us. We'll have to come back again too. I decide to head south to Olivine City, and Jasmine has once again let her Ampharos get sick enough to require us to go run another package delivery simulator again. We have to retrieve something for Surf though, so we go back to Route 32 and catch a Wooper for that, nickname it Aquades the 21st. Long may he swim, and head back to Olivine. Along the way, we actually ran into Entei as one of our roaming encounters. That was pretty cool. I wasn't even trying to do it. We don't catch it, and in fact, we don't even get a wiggle on the ball, but still neat to encounter it nonetheless. And okay, yeah, I actually forgot we can't surf yet until we get Morty's badge, so time to give him another try. And we actually have really good luck this time. The Ghastly goes down in one hit, and Haunter barely survives, but it misses Hypnosis. Morty burns a Hyper Potion on him, and we finish off with a crit. Gengar is next, and instead of the dangerous Shadow Ball after our Hidden Power, it uses Mean Look, allowing us the chance to hit it hard again and bring it down to another crit. 2 crits in 3 consecutive attacks. That's pretty awesome luck, I'll take it. Now that Morty's out of the way, we've gathered our 4th badge and we're halfway home. So let me just take a brief moment again to thank each and every one of you guys and gals who are helping to make the channel grow to nearly 800 subs strong at this point. The channel has grown so quickly, and I hope will continue to do so. If you'd like to keep in touch with me and other members of our community, join my Discord server at the link down in the description. And now without further ado, let's go back to the show. Now that we've beaten Morty, we have a few different options. I ultimately choose to go north to Lake of Rage and deal with the shenanigans in Mahogany Town. Once we arrive at the Lake of Rage, the first thing we do is surf north of the lake and pick up the Choice Specs. They're a held item that boosts the power of special attacks by a whopping 50%. The drawback here is that we can only use one move per battle. Rather, I should say the normal drawback would be we can only use one move. In this case, since we only have one move, Hidden Power, there's absolutely no drawback to using these. We do have to swap off our Shell Bell, but it's not giving us a lot of health back anyway, and hopefully our extra damage now means we won't need it as much. Believe it or not, the red Gyarados takes a few attempts to get right. We're not doing a lot of damage to it, and it has Bite, a dark-type move that is super effective against us. Fortunately, we're able to overpower it with enough hidden powers on our third or fourth attempt, and we're joined on the beach by Lance looking for help with cleaning out Team Rocket from the local underground. As usual, the matter is trivially uneventful, so we find ourselves at the ice gym against Price afterwards. And just like all the other gyms before it, we're not ready yet. Even with the 50% boost to our hidden power, we're only hitting for 45 base power. Not great. Our defense and special defense are also abysmal, so that's not great either. Once we get to Kanto, we can reset our EVs a bit and try to build up our defense and special defense, but until then, we're gonna have to make do with what we've got. I did not EV train very well. Let's try a different path here and come back. So I go south and decide to progress the southern story a bit by surfing down to Cianwood City. We get the man's secret juice to bring back to the lighthouse for Jasmine, and while we're here we take the opportunity to battle Chuck at the fighting gym. It takes a few attempts, mostly due to our shitty defense being a major liability, but we finally get a run where Chuck's Poliwrath just seems intent to keep trying and failing at Hypnosis, which allows us the opportunity to bring it down before it can bring us down and secure us another badge. We're kinda stuck now though, since we only have 2 gym options left and we're really not ready for either, so we're gonna need to grind a bit. At level 55, we take the secret man juice back to Jasmine, who's oh so eager to take it, and then we head to her gym. We're not super far off from being able to do this, but her Magnemites are bothersome little bastards as they paralyze and confuse us. Pretty much like every gym before it this run, we're gonna need to be higher level to beat her reliably, but we also need to be higher level to beat Price, so we're kinda stuck until we can do either. At one point while grinding levels, we stumble our way across Raikou, another roaming legendary. Unlike the Entei before, we at least get one wiggle waggle on the Pokeball before it runs away. Any guesses if we're gonna run into Suicune this run at some point? I decided to level up to level 70 before we give the gyms a try again. We're gonna need the levels later anyway, so we might as well get them now. I actually find a decent enough spot to do it too, in this patch of grass just outside the Safari Zone gate. This isn't here in the original Gen 2 game, so it's nice to have a new place to grind. It's not great, but considering what we have to work with in the rest of the region, it's actually pretty decent. The Pokemon here like Tauros give passable experience, and there's a Pokemon Center literally just across this bridge, which makes replenishing our power points and health after resorting to struggle easy enough. Once we reach level 70, we can give the remaining gyms a try. We fly back to Mahogany Town and try our hand at Price again. We still aren't one-shotting his Seal, we're definitely going to want to be level 100 by the end of this run, but only hits a weak Icy Wind. Piloswine still takes a few hits and it has the annoying ability to reduce our accuracy during hail. Fortunately we managed to land our hits and bring it down. Dugong's last, but we take it out thanks to a lucky crit and get our next badge. Probably could have been fine without the crit because we had a lot of health, but if Price had another potion we maybe wouldn't have been able to make it. So I'll take a timely critical hit anytime. Let's go deal with Jasmine. And even at level 70, we're still not really reliably getting through this fight. We're gonna have to keep leveling. So we're back to my new favorite grinding spot, the patch of grass just outside the Safari Zone, grinding till we get to level 75. And while we're here grinding, can I just take a moment to complain about the Voltorb flip minigame? So I had half a thought to try and buy a metronome for 1,000 coins. Didn't sound too hard, honestly. But to get those coins, your only option is to play this weird guy's Voltorb flip game. It's just so dumb. What is this game? Why is it in my Pokemon game? I understand why they had to take the casinos out with the gambling laws and whatnot, but why is this in my Pokemon game? Just let me dig up gems or find coins on the road or hell pickpocket people for something. But honestly, after consulting with my boyfriend who can math and logic circles around me, he decided to convince me that Voltorb Flip is actually a good idea. So back to Goldenrod we went, and after nearly 40 minutes, we're finally able to get enough coins to actually purchase the metronome. I'm not even sure how useful it's going to be, but it's worth having and maybe it'll be useful for us. I still prefer my idea of stealthily sneaking up behind NPCs and pickpocketing them for coins, but I suppose a good sense of logic and reasoning works too. Anyway, now that we have the metronome, let's go try Jasmine again. So it still takes numerous attempts to make any real progress on Jasmine. Her Magnemite are still out to paralyze us and confuse us, and for some reason hitting ourselves in confusion seems to be doing more damage than a same type attack bonus Thunderbolt, but whatever. We do finally get a run where the Steelix cooperates and sets up Sandstorm early instead of hitting something like Iron Tail, and we fortunately land a timely critical hit to finally close out the victory against Jasmine. With that, the game opens up a bit more for us. And by open up, I mean it immediately forces us to go take care of some Team Rocket filler BS, so after being directed to the underground by the imposter director, we're accosted by Tim again. And I actually forgot this rival fight was coming up. I've been grinding for so long I actually forgot how the story went. But it's no matter, and we quickly dispatch him without any real issue. We got a fortunate lucky crit on his Feraligatr, which could have almost certainly been a problem for us, but thankfully we don't have to worry about it. We finished clearing out the radio tower with a quick battle with Captain Archer, and it's time to take the final badge and try to win this thing. The Dragon Gym, surprisingly, is a bit rough. Claire has a Gyarados now, which is a spot of bother since it knows Bite. We managed to squeak past it with single-digit HP, but fortunately the rest of her team is Dragon-type, which is finally weak to our hidden power. The first Pokemon all run that have been, and they all go down to one shot each. Claire's a poopy head though, and doesn't want to give us what was rightfully ours, so we have to go pick up some BS to prove our worth, even though we literally just did that by beating her. Someone needs to call the Pokemon League on her, or Professor Oak, or Batman, somebody. We pass the test from the Dragon Monks and they finally persuade Claire to give us the badge. After leaving the cave, we fly back to New Bark Town, and while this would normally be where we can advance to Victory Road in the Elite Four, in Soul Silver we have to go beat the Kimono Girls now. Umbreon's first, and though it doesn't resist it, has very high special defense. I can see we're going to need to be level 100 for the Elite Four. Might as well go get it now. Finally, after an hour and a half of sped up grinding, we reach level 100, and this is as good as we can get now. If we can't do it at this level with our held items, this is all we can do. We defeat them pretty easily and find our way to the Whirl Islands and swiftly deal with Lugia. I tried a few Pokeballs, but nothing really stuck, and so before it took us out, we knocked him out. Next we get through Victory Road, and it's a surprise fight from Tim because once again I forgot he was coming. We're quite a bit higher level though, so it's no real challenge, though the Magneton does survive a hit to paralyze us with Thunder Wave. That also makes us slower than his Kadabra, which disables Hidden Power, which forces us to one-shot it with struggle. But that minor annoyance aside, we're ready to press on to the Elite Four. Psychic Trainer Will is up first, and though we one-shot his first Xatu, the rest of his team isn't quite as forgiving. Fortunately, most of them waste time with setup moves, and Jinx even puts us to sleep with a Lovely Kiss. Will also has some full restores, so we're using a lot of power points early, and this isn't looking encouraging. We do eventually get past him without too much incident, but I am concerned about our power point usage. Fortunately, we do just have the one attack, so all of our ethers can go towards it. Poison Trainer Koga is second, and again, though we one-shot his opening Ariados, the rest of his team is a bit more difficult. Fortress resists us thanks to its steel typing, and Koga has full restores as well, so we're burning power points pretty quickly. We got a fortunate critical hit on the Muck for a one-shot, and the Venomothmas is toxic but gets full restored. We land another critical hit to one-shot it though to end the fight, and there's half the Elite Four down. 2 down, 2 to go. We're out of hidden powers though, so we have to elixir and potion up to advance to Bruno. And Bruno actually takes a few attempts, largely due to his Hitmonlee hitting us with Swagger, and then us hitting ourselves in confusion, taking over 100 points of damage from it. On our third attempt, we managed to avoid hitting ourselves and then snap right out of confusion against the Hitmonchan. From there, it's a relatively easy sweep. Onyx goes down to a crit, but I honestly don't think that was necessary due to its low special. And while Machamp gets full restored and hits a cross chop, we resist fighting moves, so we're able to bring him down with ease and finally move past Bruno. Last up is the Dark Master Karen, and after several attempts we get a run where the Umbreon doesn't damage us thanks to a lucky crit. Gengar doesn't want to attack us either and just uses Spite, and from there it's a surprisingly easy jaunt to the finish line as we crit the Vileplume and somehow escape the last member of the Elite Four with no damage at all. Well, that was certainly interesting. Last up is the Dragon Master Lance, and even though we have a dragon hidden power, it's just not working out. I spend nearly an hour making attempts and we're just not able to beat Lance at level 100. I try with the Dragon Fang, the Shell Bell, the Metronome, the Choice Specs, we're not able to do enough damage here. This is honestly looking like the end. But then by the grace of Algoris, we somehow get a run that starts to look promising. Gyarados is first, and it takes 3 hidden powers to bring it down, and it uses a couple waterfalls, but we move on with nearly 100 HP remaining. Aerodactyl is out and brings us down to 8 HP with a massive crunch, but we take it out with 2 hidden powers. Charizard is next, and we get a magnificently beautiful critical hit one-shot to bring it down. His strongest Dragonite is out next, and we bring it below half as it misses its attack, which allows us to bring it down with another. His last 2 Dragonites both go down to hidden power each, and boom, there we go. We've done it. We've beaten the champion Lance, we get Unknown into the Hall of Fame, and that's it. We've beaten Pokemon Soul Silver with not just a single Unknown, but an Unknown with the lowest base power, hidden power possible. I think that's pretty good. But that's not the end of the game, there's still the final post-game hidden boss Red we have to face, so let's at least try to make an attempt. But let's scratch that because we actually can't even get to Red. I honestly don't know what to say here. We had some struggles in Kanto, but we just can't get past Blue here in Viridian City. He is outrageously hard. I tried for a couple of hours and I just can't get past him. Again, I've tried holding Metronome, Bright Powder, Dragon Fang, Shell Bell, the Choice Specs, nothing works. On the majority of runs, we don't even make it past his first Executor. On the few runs that we do manage to make it past the Executor, we run smack dab into Rhydon, and even if we have full HP when we do, he has Mega Horn, which hurts like hell. And on the insanely rare runs where we can get past the Rhydon to his Machamp, we just can't get past that. Never mind the fact he still has a Gyarados, Arcanine, and a Pidgeot that we haven't even seen yet in these 2 hours of sped up attempts. We just don't have the power to do it. Our hidden power is just too weak. It's possible that if we had rolled a 70 base power hidden power, we could potentially do this, but we just don't have the time to edit the save and test that theory. I have to get this voiceover recorded and the video edited to go up on time, and I've already sunk well over 100 in-game hours. Not real time thanks to the speed up, but we're already well past my normal production schedule for getting these done. So while we weren't able to make it through the post game, we did beat the core of SOULSILVER with just a single unknown using a 30 base power hidden power. So I'm going to call that a successful run. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm not sure what next week's challenge is going to be, but feel free to leave your suggestions down in the comments and hit me up on my Discord server, link in the doobly-doo. Till next time, guys, like, comment, and subscribe, and go catch 'em all.